We will kickstart the webinar now. Very warm welcome to our audience for taking time to be with me. My name is Ram Kumar and I am Director at Cogentix Systems. I am moderator for the session and I want to thank you all for taking your time this afternoon. Of course, after an hour, there is an event and there are soccer match, so maybe we should have planned the webinar better. But right. If Progress Modernization is top of your agenda, then you are in the right place. The topic of the webinar today is Digital Transformation with Progress OpenEdge 12 series. We have a great panel of speakers at our disposal today. We have Kevin Linardic, who is the CEO of avail. We have Justin Fowler, Director R&D at Constellation Financial Systems. Their first-hand experience sharing sessions of Progress Modernization will be of immense value to other customers who are embarking on a similar journey. I also have Rajinder Kamra from Cogentix Systems, who has more than 25 years experience of large-scale progress transformation projects. I just wanted to give you a quick perspective of the agenda we have for the day. So I'll give you a brief overview and introduction of Cogentix, and also give you a brief perspective of modernization of what we are hearing from our various customers. But the most important session, the day-to-day, will be hearing from the horse's mouth from both Justin and Kevin of their hands-on experience of progress, journey, adoption, and modernization to OpenEdge 12 series. The sessions will be followed by a panel discussion, and we will welcome questions from the audience in the end. Please submit your questions into the webinar chat window, and we will try to take it as much as questions in the end. Please be patient because I don't think we will be able to answer all the queries, but we will respond to you if we are short of time. I'll just briefly introduce Cogentix to you. So Cogentix is a niche consulting company focusing primarily on progress and surround technologies. We have a core team that has more than 100 years experience in progress and related technologies. We are committed to progress technologies and surround technologies like Angular, React, .NET, Java, Amazon, Azure, and data transformation. We have a co-innovation lab along with Progress Learning Academy, COE and Innovation Lab, where we work with multiple customers in their innovation and R&D. We will be your partner for design, build, and modernize and maintain progress application. We are also ISO 9000 and ISO 27001 certified, and we have the requisite security clearances to work with customers across the sectors. I just wanted to touch on the major drivers for legacy modernization. One is, of course, aligning with the organization's overall vision and business needs. Faster time to market, innovation, and agility. Reduce cost because legacy systems have cost barriers. Improving user experience. Progress traditionally has GUI screens and customers to go to mobile front end. Customers also want to leverage technologies to become feature ready, virtualization, cloud, microservices, etc. There are stricter adherences to compliance and regulatory requirements which legacy systems would meet up to. You have security concerns for which also you have to modernize your application to be top standard in terms of security. There is a skill shortage as older versions people don't want to work on, and they want to work on newer technologies. And data is the new money. So customers want to connect their monolithic systems and leverage data and drive decisions. So these are some of the drivers for legacy modernization. Any application modernization framework, be it any legacy application, it is fundamentally around 4 R's, which is about re-platforming your application, re-hosting, refactoring, and rebuild. I just want to touch on from a progress modernization, what does the 4R mean? You have the platform and version upgrade. You are going to the latest OpenEdge series, which is 12.8 now. but a lot of customers know that 11.7 is expiring in April 2025. So they might take a call to go to 12.2 or go to 12.8 directly. A lot of customers also want to upgrade to the latest operating system, which is Progress. Customers are looking at rehosting, which is plain vanilla lift and shift, moving part or complete application to cloud. Customers are also looking at new front end. So from a refactoring perspective, customers want to keep the backend as OpenEdge, and they want a new front end, which would be mobile and or web based. And they will be looking at frameworks like Angular, React, Telerik, and other frameworks. And they are also looking at new business logic, integrating their ability to integrate their application with APIs, NTR architecture, and also DevOps enabled. And the most complex of this modernization is actually, rebuilding comprehensive the application to make it microservices or modular monolithic. You are looking not only at web and mobile, but also looking at micro front end. You're looking at entire NTR architecture, microservices, and looking at technologies like DevOps or DevSecOps. So this is fundamentally the Progress modernization framework, but customers need not be a very sequential activity. So you might be on the one hand refactoring, also doing rehosting. You might be doing a mixture of the 4R frameworks, picking and choosing some of the elements that are critical for you. What is also very important is data transformation. How do you actually integrate data from Progress and other systems, and both internal and external, data that you would have, storing the data in a data lake, data mart, or in a data warehouse, leveraging the data for analytics, and most importantly now, no discussion is complete without Gen AI. How do you then build your business specific applications around Gen AI, right? So this is the data transformation that a lot of customers are looking at. Now, from a standpoint, we have a cycle or what we call client engagement life cycle, where we first of all discover the customer, both business and technology, landscape. What are the business priorities and what is the technology landscape? And then we assess, right, both business value and the technical value. And we strategize along with the customer based on the 4R framework I shared, what should be the roadmap. And then we have a framework of delivering projects, right, which is planning, designing, pilot, migration, testing, and deploy and manage. And the last critical is value realization, where after delivering a part of the project, it's an ongoing thing. You then, you then kind of revisit what was the business value you were wanting to achieve and how you have delivered, and it's a constant KPI improvement. I just want to share with you a small case study where for a customer who was looking to migrate from 11.7 to 12.2, we did an 8-week discovery assessment, and then we did a 12-week program to deliver it. So this 8-week assessment, we looked at all the technology landscape and all their application parameter. We actually, then gave a budget for them, how long or how much money it will cost to upgrade to 12.2. Then we delivered the program in a 12-week program. And then we are looking at other things for them, like front-end modernization. They are looking at cloud and other things, right? So it's an ongoing. This is a perspective. And for customers who have joined discovery assessment, and also you will be leveraging a discount for joining our webinar today. So after the webinar, you will receive some details on our assessment. With this, I want to welcome, Justin Fowler, Director of R&D, walks through the modernization journey and adoption of OpenEdge 12 at Constellation Financial Systems. Over to you, Justin.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for the introduction. Just to give you a quick update or a quick introduction to Constellation Financial Software. We're in the financial industry. Our Progress software is an LMS, a loan management system. We have hosted clients. We have clients that are licensed and they host themselves. But in general, our software is used mainly by banks and other financial institutions. So I just want to point out it is possible to do a very large upgrade like this when your clients are not the easiest set of clients to deal with when it comes to upgrading and staying current. Constellation itself is Canada's largest software company. We are an $80 billion company, but we are just like a small cog. Constellation itself is in the business of buying software companies and running them as independent units. Next slide. Just a little bit about myself. I've been with Constellation for 18 years now. I started as a junior developer. I now am the director of research and development. I manage about 4 or 5, depending how you look at it, different streams of development. Asset is our only software built on the Progress platform. So I have some exposure to other development environments, but for the most part, I still develop and I still got my hands on the tools. And Asset is the product that runs on Progress. Next slide. So just some quick information. We originally upgraded to the 12 series quite a while ago. It was actually on to 12.1. Probably not recommended. I would recommend an LTS release. We quickly upgraded to 12.2. There was enough in 12 for us to, get interested and want to get on board with it. So we sort of did our initial upgrade to 12.1 and then quickly migrated to 12.2. Since then, in the last sort of 4 or 5 months, whenever 12.8 came out, we quickly took it upon ourselves to upgrade to 12.8. Again, lots of nice new features in 12.8. You can learn about all the specific features from the Progress website, but we are now running the latest and greatest, and we're very, very happy with it so far. So I do recommend that you look into the 12 series and get current. It's a great release from a Progress point of view. All right, next slide. So just from a technology point of view, our application is a desktop application. Lots of GUI screens. There's even been a complete GUI overhaul since I've been around, sort of 2010, 2015 type areas where we started implementing all the Infragenesis controls and updating all our screens from the old Progress GUI into something a little bit nicer to look at from a desktop application point of view. That's what you see in the back there on the top. In parallel, we had started a what we call the Infinity project, and it was an effort to modernize our application to be an actual web application. This project sort of started around 2018, so kind of an interesting time period. 11.7 still running the old application servers, and we knew they were going away. We didn't want to get too deep into the web project before we switched over to PaaS, which is the new Progress application servers that are in the 12 series. So the old app servers are gone. We knew it was coming. We didn't want to get too deep in case they caused us all sorts of stress. So that was sort of the main driver behind getting to the 12 series as quickly as we could, amongst other things, but that was one of the big things. Next slide. The Infinity project, just to give you a very quick overview of what we did. So we use Progress, the proxy gen, to generate a .NET API, .NET DLL that you can use inside of a .NET project. We use MVC, Bootstrap, we use the latest CSS, and we use a Telerik toolkit in our web front end. One thing about us is that we don't really have any UI, UX experts on our team. So we actually engaged with Progress services, and I'm sure you could engage with Cogentix as well to help you with this. But we engaged with them. They gave us like sort of a wireframe that we could build out and develop against. Once we had that, we expanded our team and we started developing the web front end using the 11.7 classic app server and of course the .NET proxy gen to generate our API. Next slide. So some of the back-end drivers for our upgrade here is there's a long list of features in OpenEdge 12 that we were very keen to get our hands on. The slide's not really updating. I got a few on here. Oh, there it is. So the multi-threaded database, obviously we're seeing performance problems. They're starting to crop up. There's only so much hardware you can throw at the problem. We really wanted to take advantage of some of the new stuff. The online DBA stuff is getting expanded at an exponential rate. It's really good stuff. It really helps us keep the database up as much as possible. Obviously, the PaaS is a very very robust upgrade from the classic app servers. It's a lot more scalable. We were able to utilize a lot of good stuff there. The biggest concern we had was the classic application server. We were very worried about what was going to happen when we upgraded that PaaS. So on the next slide here. So what did we find while we were doing our upgrade from 11.7 to 12? It's not necessarily straightforward. PaaS OE for us, and at the time, and remember I'm talking with 12.1 experience in mind, wasn't necessarily the most stable thing. OpenEdge management didn't really deal with it too much. We do use OpenEdge management quite a bit. We do have a lot of clients, so we do like things inside of that portal. Moving to Tomcat, PaaS OE runs on a Tomcat environment. Tomcat was new to us. We were Windows guys, IIS people. This was a new world for us. So there was definitely a learning curve there. But it was totally worth it. It's generally better than the classic app server. We only needed to open one port in our firewall instead of a big range of ports. We can actually see what it's doing a little bit better, things of that nature. The licensing was an interesting challenge. We sort of went through quite a few iterations. Again, not really a development problem, but more of a business issue that you might want if you're considering this upgrade from any version into the 12 series and you use the app servers. You might want to open a conversation with Progress. At first, there was this giant sticker shock. And we're like, why? We're not really doing anything different. But it ended up being, we ended up getting it worked out, but it was a bit of a challenge, a bit of an argument at first. I don't know where they're at now. I don't know if they fixed it. This was obviously quite a few years ago, but it's a conversation I encourage you to have. Some other things to worry about. With the PaaS OE. PaaS OE is not friendly with memory leaks. The app server seemed to be a little bit more forgiving, but PaaS just absolutely hates memory leaks. So you'll end up with a coding exercise where you're cleaning up a lot of your objects that you did not clean up and you should have. Back when we were doing this, it was a lot more difficult than it is today to identify those memory leaks. Lots and lots of tools out there. The community has really stepped up and provided a lot of tools to help you identify where you're going to have some problems. But on the performance side of things, on the next slide here, now again, these metrics that I'm showing you, take them with a grain of salt. They're against 12.1. I would imagine they're a lot better now. We did have multi-threading on some processes, but we didn't really find it to be as powerful as it was until we moved to 12.1, and we really started multi-threading a lot more of our batch processes. The paths performed very well when it came to running multiple threads at the same time and processing lots and lots of data. The database just is much better in the 12 series. So these are some metrics. They don't really mean anything to a lot of people, but to us, this was something that we shared with management, and they said, do it now. We had some clients that were really growing very quickly, and the 12 series came out at a very timely time for us to thread a lot of our batch processes and solve a lot of their problems. So I'm going to wrap it up for now, and I'm going to let Kevin share his journey.
Thank you. I'm not sure if my voice is very clear, but Kevin, can you hear me well?
I can hear you pretty well. Again, I do see the chat, and once in a while, I would concur that you've broken up a little bit.
Right.
All in all, I thought it was just fine, but again, once in a while, it does break up on your end.
Yeah. So basically, I have less to speak, so it's good, right? So basically, I will welcome Kevin to share your perspective of your progress journey. Over to you, Kevin.
Thank you, and thank you, Justin. You got some of the terminology out of the way for me, so that certainly helps me. One quick comment on your, since I'm still remembering it, on your sticker shock, we had found that if you're using concurrent licensing, that was what no longer was supported, and it was definitely an issue with us as well. So anyway, again, my name is Kevin Linardic. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Carrier Logistics. We are out of New York, but we are all over the place. I've been with Carrier Logistics for almost 30 years, so it's been a long haul. I started as a developer, and I've moved up the chain, over time to where now I'm part owner of the company. I also manage all of the kind of internal facing sides of our company, all of the development aspects, manage our offshore and onshore development teams, interface with Progress, tools and technology, etc. Everything you would expect a technology person to manage. Next slide.
Are you able to see the next slide, Kevin?
Yes, and that it just moved for me now. Yeah. So a brief background of our company. We are in the transportation or trucking sector. We have been in business for over 50 years, which is great. Obviously, we can start with computers, but we were in that space. We've developed transactional software for transportation, as I said, and logistics companies. We have over 80 customers. We are a global company, mainly in the US, Canada, and Mexico, but we have forayed into the UK and Australia with accounts of from 5 to over 1,000 users. So again, we've seen a lot. Our company is built on the foundations of industrial engineering. Again, started way back 50 years ago in transportation. And we do continue to focus on software design enhancements, challenging in the industry. Next slide. Does take a minute to go. Yeah, thank you. Again, what our differentiation for our company, is that we focus on, again, if you know anything about the trucking industry, what's called a multi-stop environment. So think of an airplane and passengers on an airplane, and a hub and spoke where you have passengers and they start in one place and they want to get from point A to point B, but they can't always go direct. So you're line hauling, as we would call it, over in Chicago and then jumping over to LA. So we're like the packages. That's really what we do. Again, so pretend you're a package. and you're moving from point A to point B, and all the aspects that take to moving packages everywhere. We are a lower cost of ownership. Progress really helps us develop and enhance our software very quickly as compared to other technologies. Again, I mentioned we're a Progress partner. Of course, we have started. We were almost in the infancy with Progress, very late 80s, early 90s. And I think it was Progress version 3, which is amazing. And again, our team consists of transportation specialists. Again, that's what we focus on. And of course, technology experts, companies like Cogentix Systems. Next slide. So again, I'm obviously the CTO. Well, I took over the company with a business partner in 2018, and again, from then on, we are focusing on functionality. Our company really focuses on functionality, and you'll see some of our slides in the future showing our application, which is still more GUI side, but we have extremely strong functionality, automation, analytics. And we are really focusing on AI right now. And that has really helped us in increase our client count. We're more than double the size of what we were when we took over the business in 2018. Next slide. So our customers mainly run what we call FACS. That's the name of our application. In our SaaS cloud data center. We do have some on-premise customers, but by and large, we're a SaaS. It's more, again, since mostly it's GUI based, it's more of an infrastructure as a service. But again, as we move more and more to web-based, that'll obviously change. And we do have a partner who hosts our applications and startups, new companies as new companies come on board. That company is IS Corp. They're in Milwaukee, USA. And again, if you're interested in looking for a hosting provider, we're happy to put you in touch with them or give you more information. They do have hosting facilities in the US, also in the UK, and in, I think it's the Netherlands. So again, they are a world company, not just in the US. Again, we've gone from Progress version to Progress version. Just to give me the last kind of several years, we were on 2020, we were on version 11.7, and we just said, all right, it's time to move to 12, and we started that journey. I think it was in June, where we said, all right, now we have a new version of our.
This webinar is being recorded.
Just like Justin did, and on to 13 when that comes out, probably next year. We use all aspects of Progress. Again, everything that Progress offers, we use ABL business logic, very strong APIs, classic web speed, GUI ADM, ADM2, web client. Again, it all is supported in PaaS. Next slide. All right. So hey, why upgrade? I think Justin had some very good points. Classic server is old. Time to move to the newer technology. The database, just like Justin said, we found the same results. Performance gains were much better. Very good online utilities, more online utilities. So again, you don't have to bring the database down as much as you would have in older versions. Our customers are 24/7, and it's very important that they're always up and running with very minimal downtime. And of course, as Linux versions, again, we use Linux on the server side as compared to Windows. You want to keep up with the time. Security is something we say in every single one of our meetings because it's the most important thing. And of course, the newer versions have better security. And finally, the cost to support older Progress version goes up. So again, just like Ram said, next year 11.7 is going to be retired, and I guarantee your costs will go up if you're not moving along with them. Next slide. A couple of quick notes on our upgrade journey. I could probably spend all day on this subject. Again, we moved from 11.7 to 10.2. It was probably about a 6-month journey. We did have Progress help us. Again, we were a bit of an early adopter. I wouldn't say a bleeding edge, but we were earlier than obviously a lot of customers. And definitely what we uncovered along the way was varied results. And I have to say test. I can't say it enough. And that does include load testing. That was imperative that you do load testing to find out where there might be problems. Again, PAS-OE, or some people say PAS, is very, very, very different than classic app server. So if you haven't really looked at it and investigated it, it's critical that you really understand what it is, how it works. Again, that it runs off like Tomcat. The utilities to support it, to maintain it, to kind of look into the health of the app server are completely different. Out are those old classic utilities like ASB man and WTB man. They're completely gone. There are no commands like that in Progress 12/PAS. What we used with Progress's help is their project Iceberg. It's based on REST APIs, and that's how you actually query the database. How many sessions are running? How many app server agents are running? I want to start new agents. I want to stop agents, refresh agents, all that stuff. You have to develop because they're not part of the base product of what you get when you install it. Again, you can look online in the Progress knowledge bases. There's a lot of great information there about what these are and how they're used. Two quick things or I guess I'll just say one thing on what we had to change to just get it to run. Because by and large, it did technically just run, when we moved. We had to change our session client type to multi-session agent. Again, just a really quick tip there of one thing that we had to do. For us, again, what I would stress that if I had known, even though Progress probably did say, hey, there are memory leaks, you got to take care of them. I can't stress enough that how critical that is. Justin said the same thing about memory leaks. So clearly it's something you really need to take a look at. And again, Progress has tools for that. Look at the Progress knowledge bases. There's a find leaks program which Progress developed, and you're free to use. And it really helps you to find where there might be leaks in the program. Again, because we have a lot of APIs, and we happen to be using the curl command. We were using the curl command for calling out to REST APIs. Very, very, very heavy load. We were using the OS command. And again, you'll see in Progress knowledge base, but I can't stress enough that the use of OS command in a PAS environment, if it's under heavy, heavy load, will kill your application. We switched from using curl as the REST API to HTTP client as the API call, and that just magically solved it all. Next slide. Next slide, maybe.
Lost them.
Doesn't want to change.
I think there's a time lag.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure what happened here. I think some of the, I'll just kind of move on. Some of the next slides I had was really just showing our applications. Again, we use a full enterprise GUI ADM application using remote app. We do also use a lot of other technologies besides Progress. Okay, there's the first slide. Yeah, okay, so now it's moving forward. The first screen, which you just passed, was our main internal enterprise application, which is used by all internal staffs, but we also do have a lot of ancillary products, much newer technologies. The second one here happens to be what's used on a trucking terminal dock. Happens to be an application developed by technology, happens to be called Savoy. But it's pretty cool because it can run on the web and on Android devices. Very cool stuff. Next slide, if we can get there. Yeah, and this is the second technology we're using. It's called Fax Map, which is a map tool for dispatchers who are dispatching trucks and drivers around, where they can actually see a visual map and move drivers from one stop to the next and see where a truck is on a map and what direction they're going in, and if there's a lot of traffic in one area. Some really cool stuff there that happens to be written in C# and .NET. Again, we do use a lot of different technologies. Next slide. Yep, and of course we are in our midst of modernizing our application as well. We're going to, of course, keep the Progress on the back end because we have 30 years of legacy, very, very strong business logic on the back end. Of course, we know you've got to move on into a newer modern UI, and we are on that journey just like a lot of you guys out there. This screen here happens to be an Angular screen, so we're looking at Angular and we're looking at Vue as our technologies for the future. And next slide. And that's it really for me. We always tell our customers when we are finishing off the discussions, our software growth is only limited by our clients' imaginations, and that's why we need a lot of development users. We're always developing new things, and that's why we need companies like Cogentix to help us get there. Thank you very much.
Ram, are you there? I think, Ram, you need to unmute yourself. Ram, are you there? Okay, basically, in the meantime, we got one question from the participant, and maybe I can pass on that question to Kevin if you don't mind. And the question is that my application is running at version 11.7, and it's working perfectly fine. So what are the compelling reasons that I should move to 12.12 series? Why we should move actually when it is running perfectly fine and giving all the good performance and everything is there?
Yeah, for moving, why should you move from 11.7 to 12? I mentioned some of the points in my slide. I thought that Justin also did in his slide. Again, the performance is much better in 12 than it is in 7. And again, it's going to cost you more and more over time if you're staying on 11.7.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things I would like to add here is that many companies face ups and downs in their business. Sometimes their business is going up and sometimes their business is going down. And one of the major things which basically people have said, that the companies which are not able to cope up with the technologies, their business is bound to go down. So if you want to be competitive, you want to be on top of your business, then you have to keep pace with the technology. If you're behind, then your business is also likely to be behind. That is one of the major research findings, which was done by some management companies. Ram, are you there? I think we don't have any other questions. Let me check actually. Maybe we have one more question.
Yeah, I will.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Well, just
Yeah,
one
we
quick.
can hear you now.
Yeah,
No,
I
thank
can
you.
hear
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right,
Yeah. So basically, thank you for this, Kevin. We have a few panel questions and we also had an audience question. So I'll take first Kevin question to you. Kevin is On challenges of migrating to 12.2, you had highlighted some, some of the challenges already. You want to take up some other pointers with reference to your challenges to migrating to 12.2?
Yeah, I tried to, I think I mentioned a lot of them, but again, our expectations when we started were definitely not in line with what it ultimately took. Again, we have a lot of older Progress technologies like ADM2, Upspeed, a lot of old legacy code. So again, you have to find those memory leaks. I can't stress enough of the testing. We didn't test enough initially, including very large load testings, which really ultimately what we found, like when I mentioned the OS command, where it just lagged. And until you got to a certain threshold of number of users, it was perfectly fine. And then it just hit a brick wall. So again, you have to do that load testing.
Yeah. Justin, question to you, right? What were your challenges of migrating to Series 12? You did highlight a few, but it would be good to understand, right? What were your challenges you felt?
It's a big upgrade. I mean, you have to upgrade all of the Progress that's living on any machine that has to deal with Progress, obviously. So it is a big upgrade. I mentioned in the presentation, it's a technology change. The PAS runs on Tomcat now. That's a bit of a new thing, probably a lot of people. Outside of that, the back end code was fairly easy to deal with. We did have a project that upgraded a lot of our code that relied on OCXs. So any of those old OCX files, we really wanted to support the 64-bit client. We were running exclusively on the 32-bit client. I believe 12.8 eliminates or makes it a little bit more difficult to run the 32-bit, but 32-bit's dead to me now. I don't have to deal with that anymore. There were some challenges running some OCXs. It was kind of dealt with outside of the upgrade project because we wanted to get rid of that stuff anyway and revert over to the Infogysys controls. But outside of that, I mean, your challenges are mostly going to be on the PAS side. If you have developers, anything that comes up can usually be dealt with pretty easily.
Thank you for this. We have an audience question from Daniel, who's asking for programs that are really large and take a long time to be executed by shared memory. Is the performance better with PASOE? Somebody would like to take a stab at that?
I think Justin and I could both answer that. The answer I think we would both say is yes. It's definitely better in 12 than it is in 11. Especially if it's shared memory. I will say that Progress touts that using a client connection is much improved in 12, and I would say it is, but for us it hasn't been enough for us to move from shared memory to a client server connection, because again we need that performance benefit. So I wouldn't say to move. I would still say use shared memory. We are actually trying to use better code. Again, in addition to all the cool changes that Progress made for server-side, data queries and connections and joins. It definitely is better in 12, but again, it hasn't hit that threshold where we would move from shared memory.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think overall the performance is much better in 12, whether it's in shared memory or whether it's the PASOE. Obviously, if your PAS is running on your database server, it's going to be faster. In general, we try to chunk these large processes, multi-thread them, and then to multi-thread them, it's only really going to run on the PAS. So we've tried our best to move away from running anything in shared memory. We really don't do that anymore unless it's sort of like part of the upgrade of the application, and we have to run like some big patches or build some big tables or stuff of that nature. I really don't have much of an opinion. I do run very long processes on the PAS, and haven't really noticed any problems doing that. Whether they're faster than shared memory, I think shared memory is probably always going to be the fastest, but you can put your paths on the database server and it'll run pretty darn quick. And then if you're running it remotely, 12 in general is just better, as Kevin mentioned. Server-side joins is there, a lot of server-side stuff on the database. Database is a lot faster in 12.
Thank you for that, right? I think, Daniel, we probably answered your query, but we will, if you can get, you can ask further queries right after the webinar. I had a question for, Rajinder. What is your advice to customers who want to make migrations successful based on your experience? Some of the migrations don't go well and some of them are successful. What's your advice based on your experience?
Okay, basically what I have observed is that in majority of the cases, the smaller companies are very agile in their working and they can basically switch their gears very quickly. And most of the time their projects of modernizations are very successful. But in case of big companies, that may not be the case. And I have seen a couple of cases where a very large project, they basically failed and miserably. And the loss was in the tune of 50 million or something like that. So in one of the customer case, basically they did change the UI totally, and when the totally changed UI was given to the end users, they didn't like, business users didn't like that, and business users were very powerful, and they rejected the changes. So the project failed completely. And in another case, basically they had a legacy ERP and they were trying to migrate to SAP, but SAP was not having a particular functionality which business users were compelling. And finally, that migration to SAP was also failed. So they have to come back to their own thing. So the whole success, the whole lesson from this is that when you're doing this large migration, you keep your basically business user involved right from the beginning, and you keep their consent actually. If they're agreeing to your changes, then you are likely to succeed. But if you give them the shock at the last minute, then it is likely that you may fail. That is the whole lesson which you can learn.
Yeah. Thank you for this. I first of all have to apologize to the audience because there were some voice issues, right? That's why we have partners like Cogentix, because technology is never perfect. You always have ups and downs, right? Yeah, so like we have to live with it. We are running short of time, and in case of any audience question, I will request you to poll it or send it later. I will just like to end the session with a final question to Kevin as to how do you leverage partners like Cogentix Systems or other partners. What's your experience, if you can share with us, Kevin?
Sure. So remote development, sure. I mean, we want to concentrate, or we need to concentrate on delivering great software solutions to our customers, and not finding and training development staffs. And we want to be agile in our development staff, and it's always been very crucial for us. We have very large projects, and when we have them, they come aboard. We need to be able to find good developers and a good talent pool quickly. Our Cogentix developers not only complete projects on time, but provide valuable feedback and suggestions on how to potentially improve something that we gave them, and that's really important. That you even expect that from your development teams, and your development teams, as they grow, you get better products. So yeah, good feedback back and forth is very critical.
Yeah. I think with this, we will come to the end of the webinar. We had a few more questions, but I think we are running short of time. I want to thank you all the audience, right, for joining. We had close to around 35 to 50 participants. At peak time, we were 50, but right now we are around 30 participants in the webinar. I want to thank Justin and Kevin for their time, valuable time. And I also want to thank Rajinder. And you will receive a follow-up mail from us. And in case of any queries, reach out to us. And we're looking forward to, having a successful Progress life cycle, going forward.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye.